For too long, we have been patiently waiting for Home Depot's 2024 Halloween animatronic lineup to leak. Well, today is the day, guys. Digital Pumpkin Cat, and today we will be taking a look at Home Depot's 2024 full Halloween animatronic lineup. I can't be more hyped. They're looking amazing this year. Isn't that right, Swampy? Isn't that right, Dean? Isn't that right, Cremator? Even though you're not Home Depot, you're the spirit, so you're kind of jealous right now. Isn't that right, Ghostface? Yeah, out of the way, Christmas tree. Isn't that right, Jack? So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So here is the first Home Depot 2024 animatronic we will be taking a look at today, and it is going to be the 12-foot Levitating Reaper. Now, I am definitely a huge fan of this prop, but I am not as big of a fan as other people are about this prop. Actually, I think it's already overrated and very much overhyped. And I honestly think the Witch is better. I think Max Straw is better. I think the Witch is better. And considering we've only had 3 levitating / floating props in the industry, of course being the Witch and Max Straw, besides from this guy, he's got to be my least favorite. But that's not to say he's not a bad prop, because again, like I said, I am a pretty big fan about this guy. I just think he is pretty generic. At least the Witch and Max Straw, have something going for them. This guy's usually, you've heard flying Reapers, so yeah, he's flying. And I do like how his, I guess it's not like pale bones or anything like that, like we usually see in skeletons. It's like a crispy bone texture, just like he's coming out from hell. And I love how you can change the lights. The servos are always great too. And this guy is, I believe, $300, so it's a really amazing price. Home Depot goes out of the park with props and prices, which make for 2 great combos. And I definitely like this guy, I just don't think he is the best. Next up, we will be talking about this triple package of 3 clowns. I don't remember triple tricksters, I believe that's what they're called. Kind of a tongue twister. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of these guys, unlike a lot of people are. I do think the concept is really great. 3 little clowns that are quote-unquote tricksters stacking up on each other's shoulders. I think that concept can be taken to next level. I just don't think these guys accomplish that. I think each and every clown is very generic and very goofy to add on to the generic factor. And they don't even do much. 2 of their mouths move. The other one has mouth animation too, except he moves the hammer up and down. And the top one, of course, like I've been talking about, the one with the hammer, just looks like a knockoff Wacky Mole, which is kind of weird since it's the same company, so it's not really a knockoff. It's just SVI being SVI. But yeah, they're fine in my opinion. I wish they were less goofy. But again, them having the whole theme of quote-unquote tricksters, it's not supposed to be really scary. No Home Depot, nothing's supposed to be really scary. So all in all, I think these guys are a pretty great concept at a great price of $200 for 3 3-footers that do a ton for what they are. And I mean, I just don't like them as much though. I personally don't think we have gotten a perfect or even close to great Chucky animatronic in the retail industry that is up until now. This Chucky animatronic is, again, perfect. Just one-on-one with the movie, and it does more than what the movie Chucky does. And it's great. Amazing. It's a licensed prop. Sure, it's 3.5 feet, but it does so freaking much. It has servos in every place you can imagine, so much lifelike movement, and it's $200. Just an amazing price for what you're getting in this 3.5-foot package, officially licensed from Child's Play. Of course, the phrases and all that, and the look are completely ripped right out of the movie, but I don't like this guy as much as other people do. I'm just not a fan of the first props we are seeing, but I will assure you that Home Depot's lineup is definitely my favorite. But yeah, first of all, you see him smiling and stuff. The first time I watched the video, I didn't even know he was smiling. it doesn't even look like that. It just looks like wax on, wax off dimples that he has, and that does not fit well with a Chucky character. And yeah, I would like Home Depot to keep doing this smile thing, but keep improving on it, because this whole, you know, changing of the mouth thing does not work on a prop like this. It would work on a prop like this if they done it right, but it just doesn't look good in my opinion. And it just looks weird. Like, it has a dent in its face, then the dent goes away. Again, it doesn't even look like it's smiling. So maybe just leave that type of technology to the pro industry, unless you can get it really correct, because it just comes off as looking weird. And then, of course, I'm not the biggest fan of Chucky movies. I've only made it to, like, Child's Play 2. I don't like Chucky as a killer, and I'm not a fan of him. But anyway, I do think this prop is good, and I definitely like it. This prop I will talk very, very brief about, since I have already made a whole dedicated video on him, hence halfway to Halloween, since a lot of people did receive this guy, again, halfway to Halloween. So if you want my more in-depth opinions, I suggest scrolling a little and checking out that video. Anyway, I do think this guy is definitely cool, and definitely the second best out of the 12-foot Skelly and 12-foot pumpkin guy. They're kind of in the same genre. I do want to predict right now that since we got the Inferno Pumpkin, the 3-foot one, that I'll talk about later in this video, we're definitely going to see some sort of 3-foot Inferno Deadwood next year, or maybe even this year. Maybe one of the ones that, you know, comes out late. We get one of those Home Depot props every year, and it's usually the 3-footers, so I can dream. Anyway, I do think this guy is really great. The lights are definitely great, and I really do like the sculpt. He just doesn't really give me tree vibes, and I don't like how the mouth is brighter than any other light on the whole body. It's kind of weird in my opinion, but all in all, I think he looks like a pretty badass prop, and I really do like him. 380 is kind of steep, even though it's a fully blow molded body. If we get props like the 12-foot skeleton that have the same build structure for $80 less, I don't know what this guy's price tag is coming from. Same with the Inferno Pumpkin. I definitely think their price tags are a bit high considering what we get the 12-foot Skelly for. This is another one I will talk very brief about, since it's just the 12-foot Skelly, just updated. Also, I've talked about it in the halfway to Halloween drop, so I've talked about this guy a bunch. Anyway, I do think the updated version is cool. There are actually two. One that incorporates servos, and, I mean, there's a lot of 12-foot Skelly stuff. So, I don't have a picture as of now, or a video or anything like that, but I think you already know what it looks like. There's a scary 12-foot Skelly head for $80. I do think that is really steep for a head, considering last year we got that, like, 3.8-foot skull for, like, I don't know, it was $100, so $10 less, and the Skelly's skull is much, much smaller. I don't know where that price tag is coming from. I think that's like the only terrible price Home Depot has this year, just that one head. But I do think it is really cool, and I do like how we are starting to see scarier 12-foot skeletons around the yards and stuff, so that is pretty cool. Anyway, Skelly is one of the most generic 12-footers in my opinion, but leeways for being the first one, you know? And I do think this new upgrade with the servos and stuff is cool too, although again, $80 more, which I do think is pretty fair for more servos. $80 seems like the right cost for servos, so I won't complain about that. Anyway, I do like all the eye options, as you can see here, but some of them just look like PNGs, so it's kind of weird. They're not even animated into the little hole, so I don't like how that looks, but I do like the choices here. Of course, we got the 12-foot Skelly's companion. Of course, another one I'll be talking brief about since we've already seen it, done that, all that stuff. Anyway, it's got the same eye changes and eye animations as the updated Skelly has. So I like how this one is updated as well, and I do definitely like how the dog looks. Everybody's complaining that he has bones for ears, which I did just notice that right now. But yeah, I definitely wish that was changed, because like, what the hell? Why would you put a bone as an ear? That's not how anatomy works, Home Depot. But anyway, I really do like how this skeleton dog looks. I wish they did like a 12-foot skeleton and 12-foot Skelly's dog all like rotted and corpsed. I know you could do that yourself, but it takes forever. I wish they could do that next year and just make the two much scarier, because that's another complaint. This one looks goofy as hell, but it's fine because the skeleton looks goofy as hell. And I do wish, since they did it for the 12-foot skeleton this year, maybe they could have made a scary dog head. I'm not sure, but the dog is still pretty cool. Next, we have like the pirate sidekick, I think it's called. I don't know. The name will flash in the corner at some point, but I think he's pretty cool. He's very generic. Again, another pirate prop. Of course, we have the elephant in the room in the background when it comes to pirate props, but we'll get to him later. Right now, we're talking about the pirate sidekick, so this is just like a little sidekick thing for, you know, the big piece, Captain Cuts, which, again, we'll talk about later, or just a little side character for a, just pirate display. I do think he's very generic, but he is pretty cool. He looks like Grimm dressed up in a costume, which he basically is, since he incorporates servos, and I really do like that arm movement. This guy, I believe, is to be $150, which I think isn't a bad price tag at all. If you do want Captain Cuts, but he's too out of your price range, then this guy's probably the pirate prop for you, and I really do like the look of him. So here we have the Knight Dullahan, and I do think this guy is pretty great. He's of course another one of those horse riding props. I do think he is maybe one of the worst horse riding props, but that's, again, not to say he's bad. I just like the Reaper's Ride better. I like the Headless Horseman better, much more. But this guy is pretty cool. But at the end of the day, the character on the horse is just an ultra posable skeleton, just taken apart and dressed up. So I don't know. I think it's fine. It fits the character, I guess. But I do think they could have gone with a more original character than just sticking one of their $40 skeletons on a giant horse. So you're basically just paying for that horse. It's funny because they're selling that horse this year. Also, they're selling an ultra posable skeleton. So you could make your own Knight Dullahan for only like $250, and it would probably look the exact same. But the animation this guy has isn't much. It's just swaying back and forth, and honestly, it kind of looks weird. I'd just rather have maybe the head. That horse's movement is pretty cool. I'd rather have just the mouth talking, and that would be it. But I mean, it's still a cool prop, and he does look pretty good. Here we have the Witch Marionette. This is kind of like a Bobby Strings reskin or a Bobby Strings re-character, except this is like much smaller. They're made by the same company, I'm pretty sure, SVI, so it would make sense. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of this one. I definitely like Bobby Strings better. I'm not a big fan of this one just because of the character. This is like a budget version of Bobby Strings, and yet it probably like does the same stuff. And I mean, just why a witch is my question. Why a witch? Like, you could do, if you wanted something with witches, here's my idea. Just make a giant witch hand on the wood up there, like she's controlling these little kids, like Hansel and Gretel, or something down there. And then, you know, that would be more darker, creepier, kids would get it, and kids would still have fun with it. But just a goofy all witch on some strings just doesn't work for me. And they were trying to make it look like a puppet. The witch itself does not look like a puppet. It just looks like a cheap plastic thing. Like, Spirit's Bobby Strings looks like a puppet. This thing should have been made out of a wood texture or something. Maybe the eyes wouldn't be painted. Maybe just something to hint towards it. But it's literally like an ugly pack prop stuck on a bunch of swings and flailing around. It's honestly a better version of the witch we're gonna see in a few minutes. But yeah, it's still pretty weird in my opinion. But I still do kind of like it, especially for the price of $100. If you did watch my halfway to Halloween video, you would know that this guy is one of my favorite props of all time and the best Frankenstein props to date. There's not two of them. But yeah, I do really love this guy. I'm going to talk pretty briefly about him since, again, he was in one of my other videos. I do think he's very, very cool. $280, the price tag of $280 is unheard of for a licensed prop that has this amount of movement with a silicone mask. You're getting a silicone mask here. I wouldn't be surprised if this silicone mask alone was $280, and hell, I still would think that would be an amazing price tag for a mask like this. But you're getting technology and an amazing prop with it. How cool is that? Just adore this thing, and definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite, of the lineup. This is Carnival Carl, and this is one I definitely don't like. The first one I don't like out of the lineup. We got a few of them tucked in here, but this has got to be one of them. Carnival Carl is one of the just generic SVI clowns again. There's nothing special about this guy, in my opinion. If he was 6 feet, you guys probably wouldn't like him at all. But guess what? He's 8.5 just to be 8.5. Just to be sold. It's just to be a giant clown. Because sure hell we don't need more of those. We don't need any more giant-sized clowns. Just stop bringing them out. Nobody wants them, especially me. I do not care for them. And this guy's no exception. The hammer is pretty cool, I guess. But then his clothes just look all weird and the color schemes don't work. Like, if it was red, yellow, and blue, that's kind of what they were going for here, I feel like. But it's like the red is really bright, and then the blue is really bright, and then it's yellow's like brownish. I don't know. The clothes just look weird, and his face is the stupidest thing about this prop. What the heck happened? It's just oh my god, it looks like a Sunstar prop. It's so derpy. The eyes, and the proportions don't fit at all. It's like a huge chin. You can tell this is a huge face, but it's a bad looking face in my opinion. And I mean, 200 definitely isn't bad. I can't complain about the price tag, but come on, this guy's just bad overall. So here we have another one of my personal favorites, being the Plague Doctor. Definitely hoping to pick this thing up. Maybe on the drop, maybe in stores, we'll have to see. But $200 for a 7.5 Plague Doctor, it's amazing. It's incredible. I love this Plague Doctor. Love the Plague Doctor props. We're getting one from HalloweenCostumes.com too, but that one isn't even as close to great as this one is. This one is just so great looking, and on top of that, the animation and phrases are amazing too, along with the price of $200, $50 less than the HalloweenCostumes.com one is, which is the only Plague Doctor on the market when this thing wasn't released. So I'm so glad that this is getting released, and I'm so glad that the Plague Doctor character is having another chance in the Halloween community. Although I really hate the EL wires on him, I definitely don't like the lighting they chose on this prop, but that can definitely be turned off, hopefully, but we'll have to see. Now here's our second and last pirate prop of the year, unfortunately. We do have one other pirate accessory that we'll take a look at when we get to all the set pieces. But yeah, Captain Cuts is definitely the main attraction when it comes to everything pirate in your display, and definitely going to be in mine for only $250. I thought Lethal Lily had an amazing price, but he sways side to side as well as arm animation and does all the same things as Lethal Lily, except with one extra servo in the other eye to make that glass eye effect. I will say that glass eye, as cool looking as it does to us people who know it's a glass eye, people from the haunt maybe staring at that eye might think it's broken or something. I don't know. I think they could have used like maybe a different mold and I don't know, crack it and just put different paint on it to show that he has two different eyes or something, or maybe just leave that eyelid open so they're focusing on one. I feel like that was the great hitting point with THD, but nonetheless, I still really do love his just his character. His face is ultra detailed, along with his clothing and just, again, character in general. And unlike the Gravedigger from last year, he actually has a unique looking and just menacing bird on his shoulder. I mean, parrots usually don't look very menacing, but I don't know, that's a pretty angry parrot to me. Anyway, he's definitely one of my favorite characters ever made. Pirates are very close to me, so you know I'm going to want every single pirate from this lineup. Granted, there's only 2, but this one is amazing. So here is our second and last tree prop of this year, being the Murderous Maple, and definitely my favorite out of the 2. This thing is amazing. It looks like that one tree prop we got from Distortions Unlimited that I thought was an amazing price for $800 considering everything. This thing isn't too far away from the quality, let's just get that clear. It's fully blow molded, so that's not too far away from foam. And this thing looks pro. It looks so good. That color changing lights, you have the option to do that. It looks amazing. $250 is definitely a steal considering everything you're getting here. You're getting a 9-foot blow mold here, guys. A 9-foot fully plastic, fully sculpted, light up blow mold. I think that's amazing for the price they have it at, and I definitely think his face is the scariest part. His face just looks so good in my opinion. This is one of those props where I say it isn't the best, but it isn't the worst. And I think I overhyped this thing too much. I waited for from the halfway to Halloween thing to get the Frankenstein. One, because I couldn't, I tried, but other because I was like, oh, there's a Nosferatu. I'm just gonna wait for that. But it's not even a boogeyman reskin. The hands don't move or anything, and I wish they put the same technology they did here on the Frankenstein. I think that would have made this prop like 1,000 times better. But I still do think it's fine for what it is, and for only $200. But come on, who would pick this guy over the boogeyman? Forgot this guy's name, I'm just gonna call him the Zombified Wolf. I think this guy is another very pro-looking prop in terms of animation and most definitely looks. He has a ton going on in terms of animation, and something new that he has that no other prop in the retail industry has done, or even pro, I don't think. He has that Animotion mask type head to him. Like, his lip goes down and the other lip goes up, revealing his gums and teeth. I think that's really amazing, and I've always said they should put that on some props, just like the Animotion mask has, and they finally did with this Zombified fellow. And I really love how he looks on the side. I definitely love his intimidating teeth. Very sharp teeth, it looks like, but those are just, again, made out of plastic. But it really looks great, and I really, really love the look of this guy. Definitely one of the best, if not the best, Zombified animal props in the retail industry, or just dog props overall, because I am amazed of this guy. For only $200, just a huge wolf. This witch is so dumb. It's just another dumb, goofy witch. But I guess it does have a cool jump scare, and I guess it does have a pretty cool concept, but other than that, it's just a goofy witch. And if it did not have that if it just did not have that one hand there, this thing would be nothing. It would be dirt under my feet. But I guess that one jump scare / eyeball hand thing is pretty cool, and definitely a unique idea, but I just don't know why they had to waste it on a prop like this. Why just some cool fortune teller or something? Just not like a goofy witch that nobody's gonna buy. Granted, it is another budget prop at $100, which I think is fair, but come on, don't buy this over the Scarecrow and props like that. It's just a worse version of that. It's like the witch came to life from that puppet thing, and it's a really worse version in my opinion. So I did want this one at first for my 13-foot jack, of course being the floating zero effect, but I am not so sure anymore. I think it is a pretty fine zero prop. Again, not sure of the animation. There's no video or anything. We just have these few pictures to take a look at. And I doubt there's going to be any animation. It's just a blow mold on a stick. And considering its price, $100, I definitely think this guy is one of the worst prices in the Home Depot lineup. Because again, it's just a tiny little blow mold, and Party City did already have that stakeable zero for like $30, and they're still selling it. So I don't know why I would get this one over that. Here we have Jack of Spades, definitely the best out of all of the 3 bartender characters. You know I have Murray and Dean, so I'm going to have to buy this guy and go all out with my bartender theme, because this thing is amazing, and it's going to rip the spotlight away from Dean. Because this thing is what you're going to be staring at when you walk into any bar. If you told me a hardware store is going to come out with a mobster skeleton as a Halloween decoration, I would say you're crazy. Yet here we are. This thing is amazing. I love how he pointed out that it's like a gold texture. I do see it as more of like a rotting texture, which I think is much, much better than what Dean and Marie had. That was one of my top complaints. Like, why is it pale white? Why is this 12-foot skeleton pale white? Why is the dog pale white? Like, stop with the pale white stuff. It just doesn't work on skeletons, because that's not what skeletons look like. But I really like this guy's paint job, and just the look overall with the fedora. He puts a cigarette and cup to his mouth. He has that Jack of Spades cards. This thing is amazing. Here's the Scarecrow. Forgot his name again, but the Scarecrow. Anyway, he is the most unique looking Scarecrow we have ever gotten. And of course, thanks to Home Depot and SVI, they made this guy $100, being our, another budget prop. But if you were to ask me, if I were to look at this guy from a haunt perspective, I would not tell this thing would be a budget prop. Like, you see that one thing with one animation in a haunt that's in the background. Yeah, that's probably a budget prop. But this thing is probably going to be the front of your cornfield just display. And for $100, I would not believe you that this guy was a budget prop, because he looks like he could be $250 at best. But he looks amazing. The sickle and everything, the pointing animation. I love his massive mouth with that top hat. It's just a very, very iconic looking Scarecrow, and definitely the most unique, and definitely the one I plan to pick up on the drop tomorrow. Now making our way into the set pieces and just display pieces. And here we have the cauldron. I think it's a fine cauldron, definitely not as good as the other ones, but it looks more medieval, which is weird. We don't have any medieval props this year, but I do like the way it looks. It's a very unique looking cauldron, and it fits well with the witch prop this year. Both witch props this year, so I guess it is pretty good. So here is a bunch of little, of course, set pieces and stuff. I guess not little, we have some pretty gigantic ones in this mess. But here's a 3-foot Inferno pumpkin skeleton, and I bet you anything that they're making a 3-foot Inferno Deadwood next year. I do really like this guy, definitely one I'm gonna pick up on the drop. I'm picking up a whole bunch of stuff on the drop, and this guy is definitely a great 3-footer to have in front of the lawn. And now we have my favorite archway prop of all time, and this thing beats some pro archways in my opinion. Like that weird skull one from Scare Factory last year, throw that thing away. This thing is more pro looking than that'll ever be. And I just love the designs on each and every pumpkin. And of course it's like fully blow molded plastic, so of course it's not much farther away in terms of quality than foam filled pieces. So it's basically like the same build, and I really do love the quality of these arches, unlike probably, I don't know, Sunstar would make some derpy cloth pumpkin thing if they were ever going to do this. But I'm glad this thing was made, and I really, really love it. Better than the skull one last year, although the catacomb thing was pretty cool. This thing is amazing. I love the pumpkins, not just the designs of the faces, but the paint job looks so realistic on them. And two things here. We have that, we have a new, like, pirate wheel, I guess. I don't know if it's animated that turns. That would be pretty cool, or it's just a plastic wheel for $100. But in the background, you do also see that pirate captain that was at Home Depot for like 2019, 2020. So I'm glad he's returning. That might be a recolor. I believe the other one was blue. So this is probably a recolor of black. Maybe they added a bunch of animation to him. But we'll have to wait and see if there's a demo of that. I might have to make a part 2 if a bunch of things come out on the drop, which we always know they are basing off other years. And yeah, I'm glad he's returning, or he's getting a recolor. And just, if he is returning, then that means I love the Lowe's Captain from this year, but I don't love his price. But with these two, you could make a $200 prop that steers the wheel much better than the Lowe's Captain, in my opinion, and for $150 less, which I'm definitely going to buy both of these pieces and do that. Alright, and the rest of the stuff that we'll be taking a look at in this little This little montage, we don't have videos for, that's why I'm cramping them all in this, again, little montage anyway. We have the recolor of the 12-foot hovering witch. I don't like this thing at all. Of course I like it for being the 12-foot witch. I just wish they did not do this and just brought back the 12-foot witch to go along with the hovering reaper, because I do not think this recolor works. It's basically just making it more generic. I think the purple and black, the purple being the standout color, really worked, but this is just another like black robed witch in purple. It just doesn't work. Then we've got this badass tombstone, which is, I think, like modeled after a real sculpture, but I wouldn't know which one. But yeah, we have some more tombstones to take a look at. This whole next section is basically like tombstones and graveyard pieces and stuff like that. Here we have the hearse. The hearse looks amazing. He's obviously returning from the 2020 season, and I think he's amazing. Definitely one I'm going to try to pick up for only $350 for a full-size hearse with a sitting skeleton animatronic. That's amazing right there, if you ask me. And here we have the Knight Dullahan's horse. Well, it's not really his horse. It's just the same mold, the same sculpt. But yeah, you could buy the Knight Dullahan's horse for only $220 for a full skeletal horse. That is amazing in my opinion. Not one I plan to pick up full price, maybe, but maybe I'm thinking about it on the sale because I would die to have a giant horse in my yard. But yeah, you could just take an ultra posable skeleton and this guy and make your own Dullahan. Of course, he won't be as awesome, but yeah. And yeah, we're going into like the tombstone graveyard, of course. And here we have the giant gargoyle. Again, no stock photos or not really any videos showing it off. But of course, from what we did see, it lights up. I believe it's like 5 feet tall. That's what I've heard. And it just looks so freaking detailed in my opinion. And I think both of these are going to be, I think one of these are going to be $200. So if they are, you know I'm going to buy both of them. Two of them just to go to on both sides of my graveyard will look so badass, and I'm definitely buying both of these. That's where my money is going. This thing is amazing. Got another angel tombstone. I guess it is pretty creepy. And then this almost untimely death looking prop tombstone. It really reminds me of Untimely Death from Spirit Halloween. It also reminds me of Home Depot's 2020, I think that one skeleton statue that had the hourglass, so that's a pretty cool wing. So that there, ladies and gentlemen, will do it for Home Depot's full 2024 Halloween animatronic lineup. They did amazing this year on so many different levels. I know that I keep saying every year, like, their newest year is their best year by far, and honestly, this is their best year, not gonna lie, but I am truly saying that, and I do think every single year they are improving and taking bigger steps throughout the retail industry for all retailers, actually, and I really do appreciate them for that. And it's just an amazing lineup, and a lot of this stuff I would expect to find at Scare Factory, so it's crazy that we're getting it at a retail hardware store for prices like $100. Really love this year, can't wait to get my hands on some stuff like this guy.